Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today at Scytec to learn about manufacturing dashboards inside of Scytec DataXchange and how they can provide manufacturers like yourself assurance and assistance. So for those of you that are new, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jeff York. I'm the marketing manager here at Scytec. I have been with Scytec for about 2 years. We had a webinar last month concerning one of the recent update features, which was scheduled and saved charts. The topic for this one today is going to be the manufacturing dashboards inside of Scytec DataXchange, and really how they can help you guys out on your guys' shop floor. So if you guys have any questions, we have a little Q&A section inside of our Zoho meeting here that you can type them in, and our product specialist, Christopher Hamlin, will be answering them at the end of the meeting. And as well, if you have any, you want to know some best use cases, you're looking for some other troubleshooting, we hope that you reach out to your reseller or Scytec directly. We also have a Scytec University website where you can learn a bunch of stuff. You can go in, you can search what you're looking for, and it'll pop up a bunch of tutorials in video format, as well as documentation about how to solve whatever issue or whatever you're wanting to learn more about with Scytec DataXchange. So we're going to be covering 3 of our manufacturing dashboards within Scytec DataXchange. 2 of them are real-time data-driven, so that's like the machine data that is coming on the fly, just right then and there where you can access it. And then the third one is going to be more chart type, which is both real-time and historical. So if we're going to just go ahead and jump right into it, one of the things I want to make sure that you all know how to do is the first 2 that we are going to be discussing for the manufacturing dashboards are within the data display. And data display is our reporting tool that is mobile based and also web browser based. And you can access that by going to dx1.scytec.com/data display. And I'm going to share my screen here real quick. So there's a couple ways that you can access data display. The first is you can go to our website, scytec.com, and go over here to Getting Data Exchange. And if you scroll down here to the bottom, you will see data display, which you will click on that, and it can take you to that URL I just described earlier. Now, one of the other really cool things about Scytec DataXchange is that we have these free mobile apps that you can put on your smartphone and tablets. We have these available to download to access data display on both the Apple Store as well as the Google Play Store. So I'm going to go back in here inside of data display, and we're going to jump right into the first real-time dashboard that we're going to be discussing today. So the first one that I'm going to be discussing today is our equipment view. Now, when you get inside and you enter in all your login and account information for DataXchange, you will come down here and see the real-time dashboards.
Hey, Jeff?
Yes?
Jeff, sorry to interrupt. I don't think we're seeing your screen.
Or are we not?
I'm not, at least. Sorry to interrupt.
Someone's saying they're seeing the screen.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
It's just me. All right.
All right. So sorry about that, everybody. We're going to go right back in here into equipment view. We're going to open up equipment view. Now, the equipment view is a great way to empower your operators and your other shop floor personnel to basically, always know what is going on inside of your shop floor with the equipment. So for those of you that are new and, those of you that are familiar with DataXchange, you'll know how this is run so far. So I'm looking over here, what is available for the machines and what we have here on the right, which is the selected machine. And this is what's going to populate this dashboard. So below, we have some few other things where we have our current values, the equipment status, and the target utilization are the ones I'm going to show you today. I want to show you guys all of the current values that you can populate inside of this dashboard view. So there's quite a few that you can have. Right now I have specific equipment status, the duration of that status selected, as well as the utilization percentage. As well, we have a ton of other options that you can have populate inside of this dashboard, such as parts per hour, connectivity, good and scrap parts, part numbers, work orders, all sorts of stuff. So if we go up here to the top right, we can click on this, and this will show us our dashboard with the real-time equipment view. So this is a very good thing to have, on a phone or a tablet. I find that, you could just kind of have this thing running throughout the day, and it can show you the real-time data going off of any of the machines via DataXchange. So at the very top here on the left, we have up here, we have the names of our machines. So this is an 840D. Next to that, we have a break and then a Mori. And then these numbers that you see here, these percentages, are the equipment status. So you can show these in either pie or a donut shape, but I like the pie because it just kind of shows percentages better. So when we hover over this 42% here that we're seeing, we see that our 840D machine has been in cycle for about 54 minutes. And then we can see below it that we have been in an unknown downtime for about an hour and 3 minutes. So you can see color coordinated basically what has been going on with the amount of time and that status that the machine has been in. And then below this, you will see your specific equipment status, which right now the machine has been in a high override for about 20 minutes. Below that, you will see our utilization gauge. So, based off the Pareto rule, we like to set our utilization to about, 80% or something like that is what we try to set our, utilization to. And then we can see that our utilization percent is actually more closer to like 52%. And if you scroll down here, we can see all the other machines that we have set up so far inside of this real-time equipment view. Now, I mentioned earlier that, this is a great way to empower all of your shop floor personnel. What really I think this boils down to is that it kind of just eliminates all of the guesswork that, you used to have to, get the next day or something like that later on that week, about how your machines were running. Well, now you can just see in real time exactly how they're running, and that every different employment level can go ahead and utilize this. So when we come back out here, I'm going to check something here really quick. Okay, yes, everybody's still seeing the screen, just making sure. Okay, coming back out here. The next dashboard that we are going to discuss is the real-time list, and that is right next to the equipment view in our data display launchpad. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then once again, you're greeted with the same filterings as before, where we can select, the available equipment that is out on our shop floor to the ones that are selected that will populate inside of this dashboard. And once again, we have a bunch of filters that we can select all the stuff that we are looking to see in terms of like override statuses, cycle status, specific planned and unplanned downtimes that you're looking to see. And what's really nice about the real-time list is that I feel like, and I'll show it to you guys here in a second. So I'm going to click on it right here. I really like the formatting of this, and I think this makes a great use on a phone or a tablet with just kind of how streamlined everything is. I've described the real-time list as kind of like a personal assistant that just cuts right to the chase. So over here on the right, you can see, once again, the machine names that we have for everything. We have our 840D. We can see that it is like it was a second ago. It is still in its high override. It's normal cycle for the break. The Haas is in an unknown downtime. And that is just kind of giving me a bird's eye view of, what is going on in a very streamlined manner. And once again, when you go down here, we can see, the specific machine statuses that we're looking for. So we have general equipment status selected, specific equipment status selected. And then below we have a bunch of the other options as well too. And I want you guys to just kind of glance over these real quick, because this is what's going to go into some of the other stuff I'm going to show you here in the third really big dashboard that we have. But really, if nothing comes across this webinar, I want you guys to know that the dashboards inside of Scytec DataXchange are absolutely customizable to whatever your heart's desire. Now, we discussed the two manufacturing dashboards that are inside of Data Display. The third one, which is going to be our RTV, is inside of the Windows desktop application for DataXchange. So I have that pulled up right now, and where you can find the RTV, which stands for real-time viewer, is up here in this top ribbon bar. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I want to first just kind of describe, what you kind of see up here in this top ribbon bar of, these are all the dashboards that you can see inside of the RTV. So when you're logged in as a user, you have my screens, which you can come down here and really you can customize these things any way you want by coming up here and clicking on add and modify the screen. And then you can also customize the ribbon bar. So right now I have certain views detailing equipment alarms, equipment status, downtime detail, machine utilization, basically the last shift, good and scrap parts. So let's say I wanted to have some different views out there. We could come here, click on customize the ribbon bar, and we can, customize this to our heart's desire. And then as well, what's really nice about the RTV is that you don't just have to have the amount of space up here for different views. You can have as many views as you want. So inside of display, let's say there's some other kind of lesser important things that I don't need to just access, every day. We can access them once a week. I can scroll down here and click on, the web view or something like that, hit display now, and then it'll populate. So before I get into really how beneficial this is for manufacturers like yourself, I just want to kind of break down a couple of these really quick to kind of show you the formatting of how these things go. So the first is I'm going to click on this alarms view. And if you see up here in this icon, there's the number 3. That means that there's 3 different basically categories or views inside of this, or screens, if you want to call them that as well too. So right now we have an alarm grid, and this grid details all the alarms that our machines have been in for the last historical time frame for this, which it started at 4:26 yesterday at 10:15 it looks like. So right now I'm looking at a Mazak, and you can see that there's an alarm type for an external alarm message, and that the alarm code is next to that with a description of that and the duration for the alarm, and then the amount of alarms that we've had and the total sum times that they've had as well. So you can go and scroll through these and see the amount of alarms that you have. Then below that we have alarm Paretos by the times and then by the occurrence. So that Mazak alarm that I just described, we can see down here that we've had 4 of them, and that is one of the heavy hitters for why we keep having these alarms. And then next to that, you can see the Pareto by the time that these alarms have been taking up as well too. So the next one I want to discuss here really quick, there's 2 screens inside of this. This is something that's very general data exchange use. With this as a equipment status timeline and a summary chart. And if you've been on a demo before, you've been using the software, you know how this stuff kind of works. With there is over here we have color coordinated machine statuses. So we can see things like right here for this 840D, that is a blue. So that means that from 4:36 starting, somebody was in a break. And then you can see some of the other statuses as well too inside of there. But the really big one that I want to discuss here today is the shop floor layout. The shop floor layout is personally my favorite view inside of the RTV. And this is an overhead view that you can get for what is, basically looking down at your shop floor. So going clockwise here, we can see that we have an Akuma, and then that it is in an unknown downtime. And all of those statuses that I showed you before can be shown here. So right now, this is supposed to be a good part count. Right now, we don't have one. It's not producing anything because it is in this unknown downtime. And then the same thing as well for this Doosan that is next to it, that it has been in an unknown downtime, a star that is in its normal cycle, and so on and so forth. So we use this view because it's, kind of very probably similar to something that you guys might have outside in your shop floor. But you don't have to use an overhead image like this. You can use any PNG. So you could go and take a photo of, what is just out on your guy's floor right now. And then you can bring that back in to DataXchange. We have a bunch of very helpful documentation about, how you guys can basically draw these little lines around the machines that you see here. And then that will populate these color coordinated machine statuses that you see. So then I've kind of described the three major dashboards that are inside of Scytec DataXchange. I want to kind of go through a daily routine process of how you guys can incorporate these dashboards into your day-to-day activity. So I'm going to bring up my little PowerPoint here, and we're going to run through that real quick. So yeah, we're going to just run through how manufacturing dashboards can fit inside of your daily routine. Now, the big thing that we really like to encourage here at Scytec is that you have your RTV out on a TV inside of the shop floor. And then you can have it as well as like on a monitor like you see in this image on the left. We have taken these both from some of our clients that utilize the RTV out on their shop floor. So yeah, I mentioned the TV on the shop floor. One of the cool things about the RTV is that they're up in the ribbon bar, there is a little play setting where you can basically just hit play on there, and then all of those screens in that top ribbon bar will rotate on intervals of like 10 seconds. So, you arrive in the morning, and then really before your day begins, you can get like a 12-hour summary of, yesterday's downtimes, the utilization rates, et cetera. Kind of see where the problem areas and also the success areas as well before you kind of begin your Gemba walk, to kind of best prepare for the day. And, we look at this as not necessarily a, like a big brother kind of mentality to this. We want this to foster a communication line between all of your employment levels. And, to kind of think about this like as a modern day manufacturing, like water cooler talk, where your shop floor operators are out there, discussing this, they're pointing things out that they notice, and that, somebody with a little bit more experience is helping one of the newer guys out or something like that, where you can point out areas that needed to be addressed when in real time and not, the next day, the next week, or the end of the quarter. So the next one I would like to discuss would be like, in a production meeting setting. So once again, we have our equipment view that I showed earlier, and this is out on a TV inside of like a meeting room for the board members. And, you don't have to just look at the real-time metrics as well as this. We can also look at historical data from the last week to a longer set of metrics as well for that, to kind of get just a good idea of the trending information that's going on. And this can help, be more diligent about the tasks that are assigned to your personnel, based off of facts and not just guesswork. So there's no more surprises. There's no more, like, how did we get to this, situation? We thought things were running smoothly and apparently they're not. And yeah, it's holding everybody accountable from the, lowest end of your personnel all the way up to the top end of things. So I want to give some kind of, I guess, manufacturing examples of how, these manufacturing dashboards can help you guys out. So let's say you're in the maintenance area and you're walking throughout the facility and you see a dashboard with alarms, both active and historical over, the last 12 hours or the last, 8-hour shift period or something like that. This can be helpful to really iron out some of the difficulties that you guys have been experiencing inside of, your production environment. Next would be the quality area. So you see that a bunch of machines have been waiting for CMM and other, downtime related statuses that can be helpful to just kind of get things up and going and make sure everything is running in a normal cycle time. The next would be a CNC programming area to see the machines that have been in excess setup for the same kind of reason for too long, where it's like, we're delaying the start of this. And this could be, very hurtful to people that are in a high mix but low volume production setting. And yeah, I would once again kind of like to describe that, this is not meant to be a panopticon or like a big brother kind of mentality where, we look at this as like a tattletale measure for, the lower end of your employment levels. These are meant to, this whole Scytec DataXchange platform we describe it as a communication tool, and it's meant to change the culture of how your employees are operating with the equipment as well as with each other. And I really don't think some of this would be doable without these powerful and flexible dashboards that give you this real-time data. So there's a couple other cool things that I want you guys to know about that you can do with the RTV. And once again, to reiterate it and really kind of nail this thing, it is endlessly customizable. You can do all sorts of things. There is no limit to the amount of screens that you can show in this. You can have any different views with any kind of different combinations of them. One of the other cool things, and I'm going to show you this here next, is screens with Excel documents and other business visualizing tools such as Power BI and Tableau. We also have a web browser view, and this is independent of the other browsers that you already have on your PCs already. And this is something good that's for, like, company web portals for, people to log in, punch their time clocks and do some other reportings and stuff like that they can do straight from the RTV as well. Next up, we can also have Microsoft documents such as PowerPoint and Word inside there. And then for those of you that have your ERP integrated with Scytec DataXchange, you can also get some reports inside of the RTV as well. So yeah, here is an Excel view inside of the RTV. I just kind of wanted to show you guys that this is doable. And you can see things in here like the part counts and parts per hour, what this is costing, the production, the shipping costs, and then basically the total cost of everything. And you can get this all broken down into graphical form right next to some of the other kind of standby equipment status summaries and target utilization that DataXchange is known for. So I mentioned that the RTV is currently only in the Windows desktop version of Scytec DataXchange. Coming soon, your RTV charts are going to be able to be accessed via data display. And if you look down here, this is just kind of like a little teaser for the moment, but you can see that we have our alarm grid, the alarm Paretos, and all the other charts that I kind of showed you earlier that are in that top ribbon bar and in the display now feature inside of the RTV are all going to be able to be accessed via your smartphone or tablet via data display. So I mentioned this earlier, and for those of you that came in here a little bit late, we do email this recording of this webinar out to everybody about 10 minutes afterwards. And then eventually we are going to be hosting kind of the best snippets of these webinars on our YouTube channel and a playlist, as well as a dedicated web page to watch the entire thing on our Scytec.com website. But in the meantime, if you guys are curious to learn more, you want some better use cases, feel free to reach out to your reseller or Scytec in general. And then we also, once again, have our Scytec University tutorials. They are great. They are both in video and documentation formats that you can find everything out. And they've helped me learn a lot here in my time. So we also have some upcoming webinars. We have at the end of June, we're actually taking May off. We have a very busy May here at Scytec, but at the end of June, we're going to have a webinar concerning the Vericut, the CG Tech Vericut and DataXchange integration that was officially launched last year inside of Vericut 9.3 with CNC Machine Connect PreCheck. That is the module inside of Vericut that kind of just gives you an added layer of security before you run your part for the first time. You know everything's going to go smoothly. And then with the release of 9.4 for Vericut coming in June, we also have the CNC Machine Connect live stream feature that basically is going to show you guys everything that is going on in your machine at all times. So if you guys are running digital twins out on your shop floor and you use Vericut or anything like that, you're not going to want to miss that. We're going to have some people a lot smarter than me from Vericut on that one that are going to be describing the cool things that you can do with this new integration. And then at the end of July, there's a notification feature set that is very robust inside of DataXchange as well. And I'm going to be going over about how you can utilize things like Microsoft Teams, text and email to get machine status updates sent directly to your phone or email. So let's say, for example, you have a machine that has been running in a unplanned downtime for longer than an hour, and you want to be notified of that. So you can use these things that we have called expressions here to basically that when it crosses over that like half hour or hour being in an unplanned downtime, you will get a text message sent to your phone or an email describing what is going on. So from here, if you guys have any questions, I'm going to hand the microphone over to Chris Hamlin. He is our product specialist, and he can answer any of the questions that you guys may or may not have about the manufacturing dashboards that we covered inside here.
Okay. Hello. So I don't see any Q&A coming in really in regard to the webinar, but I do have some that I've saved from just support tickets and issues and things like that have come in from the support channel. So one of the things that's come in is we have what is the difference in the real-time view versus the other options within the RTV? So what does that mean from a perspective of data and how quick am I viewing the data from the machine to these screens? So anything that's going to show a current status of a machine, the machine status grid, and any other thing that's like that, where you're getting that current machine status, no historical data behind it. So not like the timeline, not a summary. Again, just the thing where you're seeing the current view. The data there has about a 2-second delay from the machine. The other views cache and reset basically, and they refresh about once every 2 minutes there. So things like the timeline, summary are going to just keep recycling the data and again, keep refreshing about every 2 minutes. But again, critical data that you're looking at through the real-time view on the data display under that tab that Jeff showed, that is going to refresh about every 2 seconds or so. Another thing Jeff brought up is having, that we've seen in the past is we have particular departments and things like that where they don't care about machine utilization, it's running. So the maintenance department that Jeff brought up was a great idea. So again, these dashboards are extremely customizable and you can easily tailor them to whatever environment you are or what are using it in. So in this particular case, when you're using the RTV view in the maintenance department, well, they might only care about maintenance related statuses and when those machines are in that status. So you actually have the ability to filter out statuses that are relevant to you or irrelevant to you. So that'll allow you to come in and basically say if the machine is down for maintenance, they might care to know that. So they will see that in their RTV. But if the machine is down for something that isn't maintenance related, those will just automatically be filtered away and they would not see that in that RTV dashboard or TV that's mounted up in the maintenance office. And then the last thing I want to bring up is that we just see coming in from the support channel again is just data tracking your way. There's a lot of different ways to track the data. And if it's not there from a custom preset standpoint or something canned within DataXchange, we offer the ability to record data using something called custom variables. You can take lots of different data points from the machine and record it there. One of the big popular ones that's popping up is people want to record the feed rate override and display that in the RTV view. So we can actually get the numerical value coming back from the machine. So if it's at 100% and it's just running normal, we can record that 100 into the on-screen RTV view and again, display that. If it's in low, you can get that actual value. If someone's turned that feed rate override down and say they're running it at 60%, 80%, you can display those values live. And again, with very little latency. So on the shop floor. You can also set up notifications around that as well. Jeff brought that up a little bit. So notifications can be triggered your way and how you would like to see them. So if you want a notification if the feed rate's been turned down for over an hour, there's obviously something going on with that machine. Maybe there's some chatter, the bearings going out, something of that nature, and you can get an email automatically sent out if that's the case. Other things that can be displayed. So we did show the Excel spreadsheet, but we can also show any of those Microsoft Suite products that are available through the web. So through 365, I think now pretty much the entire suite's available, but we do have a lot of clients that have questions on how to display graphs and charts and stuff coming from Power BI. So that's absolutely possible. There is a web browser view that it's completely flexible to display whatever website you would like, including like a company portal. So if you have a company portal page where you're constantly refreshing certain going-ons within the organization, company picnics, parties, whatever it might be, you can have that just pop up and kind of move through that view as well. So
actually, Chris, one of our customers here came in with a good question: is how do the dashboards work on TVs, or do the dashboards work on TVs? Looks like.
So what we can do, the dashboard should work on TVs, but it just depends on the TV, I guess. Obviously, older TVs will need some sort of interface, but you do need, you would need something like a CompuStick is what most people will call them. It's just a little microcomputer. They cost around $150, and you can plug that into the HDMI port on your computer, and that will give you a full-blown computer to just display. And those will have a web browser. So a lot of these real-time views can be either displayed again through the data display option, so you can go into the browser, or you can even install the DataXchange client on that computer and run it that way. We do have clients running data display views through the built-in web browser on their TVs, so it is possible to do that as well. They just, whatever manufacturer TV that they're using needs to basically support a Chrome or Chromium based browser. That's what's supported by the DataXchange data display product. So if it's Chromium based and it can run Chrome, it can run the data display views that Jeff showed off today.
All right, well, I think that's it in terms of questions. Does anybody else have any more questions? I'm not seeing anything else inside of the Q&A section. So once again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to your reseller. Reach out to Scytec directly. We are happy to walk you through the best practices in implementing Scytec DataXchange to all of your guys' shop floor equipment. And yeah, I think that just about wraps it up here today. So thank you again for stopping by and checking out our manufacturing dashboards within Scytec DataXchange. Chris, you got anything else?